Life's meant to be lived with others, and engage other people. And I think that's really what hit home with us, hit a heartstring, if you will, with the journey and the community group. I found a group of men that I'll go to bat for. I mean, if they needed something and they called, I would move heaven and earth to make that happen, because I know they would do that for me. And that trust, because that's really what it's about, is trust. And that's not just, people don't give that freely, and they shouldn't give that freely. And so that is earned and it's cultivated. And it really, it happened for me in our community group. I remember our leader at the time, Micah, setting us down and saying, you know what, I'm not going to allow this, not on my watch. We're not going to just walk through life and not talk about the authentic, the real, the hurts, the raw things that we're struggling with, and just pulling us along, kicking and screaming in some aspects. Because we're not seriously going to talk about this. Yeah, we are going to talk about this. I want to know how you're doing with your walk with Christ. Are you spending enough time with Him? Are you getting to know Him? Are you in the Word? I want to know how you're doing your relationship with wife. Are you just coasting through life? Are your ships passing in the night? And how are you doing with your kids, man? Are you engaging them? It's so easy at the end of the day to come home and still be checked out. Mine are little, my kids are little, and that aspect of I mean, if I stayed and worked through the evening when there's no more work being created and a chance to get caught up, and I miss that window of spending time with them, or I come home worse, I'll go in and read her any story and be 30 miles away. It's not fair to her, it's not fair to my family, it's not fair to me. And my community group has challenged, just pushed me back to fight against that, but to engage my family and be present in the moment. And that's all come out of my community group.
All of the girls have talked after the fact about how, some of their husbands that would never really talk about what God's doing in their life or how they feel about anything had come home talking about that night. And it makes you excited to show up at church in a whole different level. Not just because you're going to enjoy being with the whole church body, but because you're seeing your people.
Right. I mean, it's a family. The Holy Spirit was totally at work. I mean, it was a moment, because that's not natural for a guy to want to do that. It's not natural for me to say, okay, yeah, I need help, or this is what I'm struggling with, and you find out that you're not really alone. I mean, we've all got different angles that we're coming at it and different areas that we're working in, but we're really not that different. And sin affects all of us, like Allison said earlier. But that's where Christ intersects and meets us and covers us and just blasts that sin out and says, I got you. And if we can do that together, we can grow. We can have positive impacts. We can push back against what the enemy is trying to do. We can have an impact before it becomes a problem, because we're authentic and we're real with each other. And that's what's happening right here, right in our community group.
When somebody else outside of your family knows you well enough to know when something's wrong, and they care enough to say something and to pray with you, it's just been really cool. But God has taken this group, and because we've all chosen to invest in the group and invest in the relationships there and chosen to be vulnerable with each other, God's just really been able to do some incredible things. And because of that, because of people being willing to share their lives with each other, we've walked through foster care with them at our sides, and another couple in the group has walked through an international adoption with people surrounding them and knowing that they are prayed for and loved. And there's people who have gone through medical stuff and having babies and looking at new jobs and all of that's so big and weighty. And to know that there's somebody else that is praying for you besides your family, somebody else that really cares enough to take the time to get what's going on with you, is just huge.
And it's what you're doing. You're creating a support structure. You're creating a network, a family, if you will, of people that will lift you up. I mean, they had to do that with Moses in the Bible. His arms got tired, and they had to lift his arms up and hold him up, and they needed people to do that. And again, that we're not supposed to walk through this life alone. We're supposed to walk through it with other people.